JMU will go to the left to right. The Phoenix right to left. Johnson, Cooper Williams to jump tip. We are underway. Cooper Williams taps it to Kashuda. Offensive tip, but Elon gets back quickly, and Reynolds will set things up. Elon in the man-to-man. Munford versus Reynolds at the point guard spot. Smalls on the left, matched up with Mercer to start off this game. Goes under the screen. Smalls to Cooper Williams in the left corner. Back to Smalls. Still crossing over, looks inside to Kashuda. Matched up one-on-one with Garner. Double team, throws it up, fouled, and will head to the line. It's either on Garner or Johnson, and it's Malaya.
That's a big early foul on Malaya Johnson. And again there, Kelly Kashuda catching it a little bit deep in the post there. And once you let Kelly Kashuda catch it deep in the post, it's tough to stop her. And that time they had to foul to do so, and she'll go to the line.
Kelly Kashuda actually has tremendous range. This is not a three-point shooting team, but Kelly Kashuda, one of the few that is fairly proficient at the three ball. Swishes both free throws. And so James Madison on the board first, 2-0. Elon with their first offensive possession. JMU also in the man-to-man. Munford up top. Hands off Shea Burnett, switching onto her is Reynolds. Goes through the screen now on Smalls. Kicks out Sadia Munford on the left. Resets halfway through the shot clock. Screen coming from Johnson. Set on barrier. Johnson rolls. Munford pops. Back to Garner. Wide open three on the left. Bang!
And that's a big-time shot. Mimi Garner. She started off a little bit slow yesterday in the quarterfinal, but knocking that one down with ease, nothing but nylon.
Mimi had 12 and 9 yesterday, but didn't make a three. She makes one here to give the Phoenix a 3-2 lead. Small, straight on answer. Yes.
Just too much space for Kamaya Smalls that time, and makes Elon pay.
Munford in transition, hands off to Shea. Crossing over on Reynolds, resets. Malaya sets the screen. Switching onto her is Cooper Williams. Backdoor pass. Johnson lays it in for two.
Great vision from Shea Burnett. Thought about going to the opposite wing, but saw Johnson on the roll and hit her, and Johnson lays it in.
Expect a much higher scoring game than the last one. Reynolds, hands off on the right to Barrier. Goes across the screen, goes in the lane, falling down as Munford. Barrier keeps her feet. Hits the back rim on the short corner jumper, though. Elon defensive rebound. Burnett slowly brings it up. Going left to right into the paint, wide open. Lays it home.
Great move. Great finesse around the rim. Finger rolling it home, and Shea Burnett into the score sheet early.
7-5 Elon. Tremendous patience from their senior co-captain. Smalls trips, stumbles, hands off to Kashuda. She'll get the ball right back. Halfway through the shot clock. Mercer on Smalls. Crossing over. Smalls to her left. Kicks Kashuda. Three straight on. Toilet bowls out, but there's Cooper Williams for the offensive rebound. One doesn't go. Two doesn't go. And it's picked up by Munford. They thought there was a whistle. There was none, and there's going to be an inadvertent whistle. Inadvertent whistle. The trailing official explaining it. Both teams stopped, and that's just, unfortunately, the referee must have just exhaled a little bit, and the whistle tooted a little bit. They're still talking.
Yeah, I think just an inadvertent whistle.
But now they're going over to the replay monitor.
Maybe just take a look at the clock. I think the shot clock reset. Trying to make sure you get the time right. Maybe they're going to put the time that was on the clock when the inadvertent whistle came in.
Right. Did not see whether or not the clock stopped when that inadvertent whistle blew. Getting confirmation from the official that is exactly what happened. So they're just checking the clock to make sure. Maybe 2 or 3 seconds, Jake. But in a matchup like this between Elon and James Madison, those 2 or 3 seconds down the road are going to be huge.
They are. And right now, 7:38 in the first quarter. Doesn't really feel like that much of a difference. But, seconds are going to be the difference between whether Elon advances or James Madison advances. And
Phoenix, a perfect 3 of 3 from the field to start this game off. James Madison, 1 of 5. Elon leading 7-5 over their arch rivals. Only the 4th season in the conference, and yet this Elon JMU battle, year in, year out, has really pumped new life into the conference.
Indeed, and they did take 3 seconds off. So 7:35 on the clock, 27 on the shot clock.
Sean O'Regan in his 2nd season as head coach of the Dukes. Charlotte Smith in her 7th. Elon with the basketball, Munford on the left. Left elbow, Malaya Johnson, about 2 feet from the elbow. Dribbles inside, penetrates, kicks Mercer. Three, swishes it home!
And Lexi Mercer was standing on the wing, calling for the ball for about 5 seconds, saying she's wide open, calmly knocking down the triple.
Reynolds up top, looking inside to Kashuta, knocked away by Garner into the hands of Munford. Elon can counter up 5. Munford bumped by Smalls. That is a mature play from Sadia Munford. Kamaya Smalls wasn't even looking, just ran right into her.
Very, very nicely done. That's a big-time foul. When Kamaya Smalls not paying attention, Sadia Munford knowing that she can pick up a foul on her, that's huge for Phoenix down the road.
Inbounds goes to Munford, hands off to Shea up top. Crosses over to her right, splits the double team, goes inside, lays it home through traffic.
And that's just so much strength from the senior co-captain, Shea Burnett.
Smalls trying to answer, dribbling around up top, loses her dribble, hands off to Reynolds. Charlotte Smith is clapping. Elon still perfect from the field. It's 12-5. Reynolds to her right, gets the screen from Cooper Williams. That's an offensive foul. Illegal screen, Kayla Cooper Williams.
And the energy from the Elon bench, you can just sense there's so much difference from yesterday's start to today's start. Elon had those first round jitters out of the way, and this is Elon JMU, and they are playing like it. 5 for 5 to start the game. JMU 1 for 5.
Elon made 2 threes all game yesterday. They have 2 in the first 3.5, and they haven't missed from the field. Garner, another one from the corner. Back rim, but there's Sadia Munford into the hands of Johnson. Mercer, 3, back rim. Rebound to barrier of James Madison. Jada Graves gets ready to check in as Reynolds crosses over up top. Hands off to Kamaya Smalls. Dribbles inside, gets in the lane, spins, tries to fade away, and it's picked off by Garner. Smalls puts some pressure on her, but then has to retreat as Elon forces a turnover. Mercer fakes the 3, steps inside, shoots the jumper, knocks it down. Timeout, Sean O'Regan.
Terry back to serve. Most important 10-15 minutes of the entire year for the Phoenix. They lead 3-0. That one's going to go off the block and down. Hofstra gets on the board in set number 5. Mason Stalph alongside Andrew Vandellis. Andrew, Elon gets the first 3 points. Now they concede their first. Got to make sure that they don't let this turn into a run the other direction.
Absolutely. Elon playing great defense there on that point that they conceded. As long as they keep this up, this lockdown style of playing, they can get the win here against Hofstra.
Terribly costly service error by Sidlick. Got to make, both teams have to make sure that the other one has to work for their points. Service errors will be something, if Hofstra does lose this game, that Emily Mansour is going to be absolutely kicking her team over. Great play by Mashulo. It seems like every time Hofstra needs a point, it's Mashulo who comes up with the goods. She makes it 4-2. But right now, Elon in their home gym in front of their alumni and faithful crowd with all the things to play for, still think that they would have the momentum. Thomas.
Wow.
What a kill.
Thomas coming in handy here in the 5th and final set. As you mentioned, she's a spark plug, and I think her fuse has just been lit.
What an absolute, it was a perfect set once again from Cody Garcia, who comes out with the switch in favor of Aaron Kelly, who will come in to serve. But a perfect set from Garcia, and Nori Thomas with an absolute thunder strike. Terry with the dig. Kelly sets for Busa. She's still looking for her first kill in a while. Mashulo. Kelly keeps it alive, but just mishandled it too low for Pavlik. Hofstra gets a very big point. 6-2, very different from 5-3. And that's the key in these late game situations, Andrew. Everything's a 2-point swing.
Absolutely. And when you have that 2-point, whether it's on the leading side, you want to expand that and keep it comfortable. But if you're behind like Hofstra is, it's a sense of urgency, and you can't give up service errors like that. That'll be number 13.
That is the 13th service error for the Hofstra Pride. When you look at the number of points that Elon scores, that's really close to almost a quarter of all the points that Elon scores have been on Hofstra service errors. That's just unacceptable. That one goes long, but it's off of the block of Elon and out of play. Just a brief touch as it went over the tape.
However, as we've seen with Hofstra's offense, they do gamble a lot. But when they do gamble and when it works, it's a big payoff for the Pride.
Serve down the line, Aaron Kelly, Cam Terry. An incredible dig kept alive by Hofstra. What incredible defense. Elon still has the opportunity, though. Terry kept alive by Ortiz. Has to be played over by Nanishka Perez. Pavlik kept alive by the Pride. This would be a killer point if Hofstra were to win it. Jadon. Crabtree off of Alumni Gym's roof and down.
Alumni Gym giving back to Elon, it seems like, in its final 2 games here.
There's something magical about this arena. Yeah, sometimes it frustrates you. It even frustrates the Phoenix. But you know that Alumni Gym wants the Phoenix to win in its final 2 games, and it gifts them point number 7 in set number 5.
This is crucial here for Elon as they can go and expand their lead. As we mentioned, 3 is different than 2, but once you get past that 4-point lead, it's something special that the Phoenix need to capitalize on.
Carpenter battles, loses out, but Hofstra misplays that one a little bit. Ortiz down the line, and she has been so clinical. When the set's good for Ortiz, it's something to watch.
Oh, and she's just executing with pinpoint accuracy. She is one of the prime benefactors of the points here, along with Masculo. And she's just doing a great job keeping it close for Hofstra right now. Big benefactor in sets 3 and 4.
The jump serve. Elon keeps it alive, but it goes up or into the rafters. Terry. If Elon could win on Ortiz's serve, that would be fantastic. Busa still looking for that kill. Mashulo is going to have to poke it over. Terry keeps it up. Crabtree will have no choice but to play it over the top. Opportunity for the Pride. Mashulo, the block of Carpenter, comes to Elon's aid. Busa, really been playing a lot of back line and hasn't done her job as far as finishing the kills, but she has another opportunity, can't convert. Mashulo off the block, Busa doing the defensive work. Big point in this match. Mashulo kept up by Crabtree. Terry has to play it over. Who will win this rally? Jadon, Kelly, Crabtree again. Off the block, Ortiz kept alive. Ortiz hits it over. Jadon, who will win this point? Courtney Carpenter does it.
Beautiful execution right there. Courtney Carpenter, after a nearly 2-minute rally, puts the Phoenix up by 3.
The 2 teams switch ends. Unbelievable point.
Wow.
In my 4 years of watching Elon volleyball, that is without a doubt the most incredible point that I have seen, not to mention just how much was at stake in that point, Andrew.
Exactly.
Basketball, football, hockey, oh my, it's been an exciting week here in the sports world, and Mason and I are here to discuss this roller coaster and what it means for the future. Notre Dame's Enrique Agumbuale hit not 1 but 2 improbable buzzer beaters, 1 to knock off then undefeated UConn and a 2nd to defeat Mississippi State in the national championship game. Mason, is this stretch of success the greatest that we've seen in NCAA tournament history?
When I thought of this question, I thought of what was the most shocking runs to potentially an NCAA Final Four or a national championship game. The first one that popped in my head was 2 years ago when Syracuse advanced to the 2016 NCAA title game as a 4 seed. They had to go through South Carolina, which at that time was Asia Wilson, Elena Coates, Tiffany Mitchell, then go through Washington with Kelsey Plum and Chantal Osahor.
But then they lost to UConn.
They got killed by UConn.
And I got to say, that's my choice. Is the way that I interpreted of it was just overall domination. The 4-year run that UConn had, winning 4 straight NCAA tournaments, winning every game by over 10 points in each tournament.
It was truly an incredible run. I would also say you have to go back a couple more years, talk about Louisville and that run that they had in 2013
really
to the national title game. Again, they lost to UConn, but they got through what I believe was one of the most dominant programs in the history of women's college basketball, and that Baylor team with Brittany Griner in her senior year, knocking her out in that Elite Eight
I remember
game.
Before UConn went on that run, everybody was terrified of that Baylor team. Louisville
I was fully convinced that that team was going to win
Specifically Brittany
it all.
Griner, too.
Still one of the most dominant players in the history of the game. I would also give a little bit of an honorable mention. Go back to the first ever NCAA tournament women's basketball championship, 1982, Cheney State College, the only non-Division I school to ever play in a national championship game. It's in Pennsylvania.
Okay. Very nice. Congratulations, but let's move on.
Joel Embiid suffered an orbital fracture and concussion in the 76ers game against the New York Knicks. Embiid is out indefinitely until post-surgery. The 76ers currently on a 9-game win streak. So, Thomas, what do you think this is going to have in terms of an impact on the Sixers?
I mean, obviously, this is so detrimental to the Sixers, especially with their playoff
Devastating.
hopes.
Not detrimental, devastating.
Absolutely. When Embiid is on the court, they're outscoring opponents by 12 points per 100 possessions. When he's off the court, they're getting outscored by 4 points.
I think this is very simple. If Joel Embiid is indeed the process, and he is not playing, there is no process. So there is no winning.
How's it going to work? They got a first-round matchup, and it's looking like it's going to be against either the Pacers or the Wizards. John Wall just got back.
It's the Pacers.
Exactly.
Pray it's the Pacers.
John Wall is back.
Yes, because John Wall is back, but also this Indiana team has been a surprise all year, but I don't think it's going to be a surprise in the playoffs. I think they're going to be horrible because I mean, really, other than Victor Oladipo, this team is not very deep.
Miles Turner
has not performed. Domantas Sabonis has not been good, and he's been hurt over the last month or so of the season. If they go up against them, even without Joel Embiid, they have a chance, though.
Embiid had the opportunity to really shine in that game going up against Miles Turner, but now it looks like Ben Simmons is really going to have to take a lot of control of this team.
Obviously, we'll know, they will have decided the Rookie of the Year before that, but Ben Simmons can really put the nail in the coffin for his Rookie of the Year if he comes out and balls out in the playoffs.
I'm wondering if he's going to be playing point guard. We'll find out soon.
Play every position.
Absolutely. With only a few weeks until the NFL draft, rumors are swirling about the Giants wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. being traded for a high draft pick. The Giants have made it clear they're not actively shopping Beckham Jr., but are keeping the phone lines open. So Mason, if he were to be traded, where would you say he goes to get a championship?
Well, there's been an interesting development over the last couple of minutes, actually. The Los Angeles Rams trading for Brandon Cooks and a 4th-round pick in exchange for their 1st-round pick in the NFL draft. If Odell Beckham Jr. goes to the Rams, I don't even think it's a question that the Rams are the favorites to win the Super Bowl.
That's quite a scary wide receiver duo. Let me tell you what.
Cooks, OBJ, on top of Jared Goff playing at an extremely high level, Todd Gurley, and a defense that somehow got better.
Incredible.
With Adama Suh joining the team.
The moves that the Rams made so far, they're really looking good for the Super Bowl.
The Rams are filthy. The only thing that isn't filthy is having a Ram as a mascot.
That's true. They should look into that maybe. My pick's going to be the Atlanta Falcons. You've got a really experienced quarterback in Matt Ryan. He's in his prime. They've got the money to give Odell Beckham a full contract. And imagine Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, and Odell Beckham Jr.
Here's my problem there is that you have too many studs.
Sounds like you got too many studs on the Rams, too.
But Brandon Cooks is more than willing to defer to Odell Beckham Jr., whereas Julio Jones may be the best receiver in the league. Odell
Imagine
Beckham
them on
Jr.
opposite sides.
Doesn't matter, though.
You get a lot of pressure off of one of those guys, and then the other can run around and distract.
Both of them want to be the guy, whereas Brandon Cooks knows that OBJ would be the guy. In Atlanta, Julio Jones is the guy. He's always been the guy. OBJ thinks he's the guy, despite the fact that he basically missed all last season.
Attitude problems will always play a role into the first season, but say the chemistry works, it could be a really dangerous combination.
But the question is who's going to win the ring? It's the Rams.
That's true. All right, you're right.
The Chicago Blackhawks were in a huge bind when they had to find an emergency replacement goaltender. Scott Foster was their answer, a 37-year-old accountant who stepped up and proceeded to have his night when he stopped all 7 shots fired his way, paving the road for the Hawks' 6-2 victory over the Winnipeg Jets. So, Thomas, the question is, should this guy get a full contract?
Let me tell you what, that was such a fun and interesting story to see. It reminded me once again of the Vince Papale situation, Invincible, but I think that's pretty much where it's going to land. I can't really see him getting a contract to a team in the future, but bad teams that need some help in goal know who to go to.
He's 37. Why would you ever hire someone who's 37?
Just because of one game.
But this is also why hockey is so ridiculously weird. I will say the strangest thing about all of this is that he got an amateur trial, not a professional trial.
And what does that mean?
An amateur trial means you get a 1-day contract, no pay, and you get to shake hands with everyone at the end of the game and say, congratulations, you played on an NHL roster.
Hey, thanks for saving all 7 of these shots.
Professional trial, you get a 1-day contract, $500, and you get to keep your jersey.
Ooh, and Scott only got an amateur contract.
Correct, which is why if he gets another one, it better be a darn professional contract.
He got a really good first-day tryout.
Professional tryout,
Professional tryout. Hopefully he'll get $500 next.
Yeah, that seems like a good payday.
At the very
I'd
least.
like $500. Well, that's all the time we have for these quick hitters, but coming up, I'll be throwing some screwballs to our MLB experts. Stay tuned.